Sorry, I don't love you. Afraid I've grown accustomed to. Cause with you something isn't wrong, something isn't wrong, something isn't right. I wish you could be happy.
Hey everyone, welcome to Geekdom is back. Today we have a brand new guest on. Mike Kamate is here, and we're going to be talking all about Civil War. But first, Mike, why don't you tell us all a little bit about yourself?
My name is Mike. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I run the Bantha Fodder podcast with Jacob Tender. He is my hero. Jacob Tender is my hero. I also play music under the moniker Old Best Friend, and you can check all that music out at obf.wtf. Also, I am custodian of a miniature dachshund as well.
Nice. Well, we are going to go ahead and dive into Civil War here now. If you haven't noticed, we're leading up to Infinity War here with quite a few Marvel podcasts for the MCU movies. We've already covered the Avengers and Iron Man at this point, and hopefully you will be hearing episodes on Age of Ultron and potentially Spider-Man Homecoming, but we'll have to wait and see because I don't know if I will be seeing Infinity War right away because my plan is to see it with MoviePass, so that might backfire spectacularly on me.
Oh, it will.
Yeah, it doesn't help that the theater by my house doesn't have the biggest theater rooms. It's like, I had a friend send me a screenshot of the theater by him, and I think the rooms in the one by me, the biggest room is like half the size of what he sent me. I was like, yeah, nope, we don't have that big of a theater around here.
I feel like matinee shows are probably your best bet in that case.
Yeah, see, that's the one good thing about not having an actual job is that I can go to the movies in the middle of the day on like a Wednesday and it won't be nearly as bad. But, then money is also a thing I would like to have. So, it's a little give and take here with the no job situation. But right now we are going to go ahead and dive on into Civil War. And the movie differs a ton from the comics. So we don't get to see quite the same caliber of casualties as we do in the comics. So one of the main things I wanted to talk to you about here, did you feel like the lack of casualties didn't give this movie as much of an impact as it could have had?
I think in the context of the movie, well, I guess short answer to your question, no. I think the lack of casualties actually enhanced the impact that it had. I mean, I for one, am not a huge fan of disaster porn movies. I should rephrase that. Like, they're fun to watch, I guess, but like I get this uneasy feeling. The Transformers movies come to mind when I think of like awful movies that just have no regard for loss of life. Man of Steel, it's just horrible disasters on like a tremendous scale. And all I can think about during that is like, wow, that entire building fell down and thousands of people are dead. So, to see a movie where that addresses that in that respect, that's what I really think Civil War gets right in amongst other things.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there are definitely civilian casualties in this that we see, but as far as the heroes go, we don't really see that, and we will certainly be seeing that a lot more in Infinity War, which we'll talk about, get into some speculation later on at the end of this episode. But for me, I wasn't that bothered by it either. Just because it wasn't exactly like the comics doesn't mean it was a horrible story or anything like that. And I know a lot of the comic book fans were quite unhappy with the direction this took because, spoiler for a comic from like 2005 or 2007 here, in the comics, Cap dies at the end of Civil War. And
he does. Wait, he does?
Yeah.
He does. No, he doesn't. He gives in.
I'm pretty sure he dies at the end of it, though, in like the final issue.
He definitely. I don't think he dies. I feel like he bows down to Iron Man.
Oh, I think it's the aftermath of Civil War, actually.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen right away in Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the epilogue then.
Yeah, so I think it's more in the aftermath, not necessarily a direct consequence of Civil War happening. So it's not like, it's Tony or any of the other heroes who actually kills Cap. But I think because of how torn they were during the Civil War, it sort of weakened both sides quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly doesn't help things when you are trying to arrest half of the heroes.
Yeah. The comics, like, I think a big thing about the comics for me was was you got way more, like there was like a 120 issue run, you know, like for that entire thing. It was
Yeah.
massive. And, you know, like I said, I read it twice, and, you know, through like once when it came out and recently in the past couple of years. And it's just like it's just such a massive like undertaking. And there's so many plot lines between who's switching sides. And, you know, my favorite hero is SpiderMan, like most of America, I feel like. And I just think that it's like he was a great kind of centerpiece of the whole thing as far as, you know, changing sides, switching and whatnot. And that's kind of how I initially, like, my bets were placed on Civil War, the movie kind of revolving around Spider-Man in a way that, in like a similar way. Remember X-Men 3, The Last Stand?
I am so bad at remembering the X-Men movies because I watched them once and I've never really gone back to watch them again. And I'm not entirely sure I want to. So a lot of them get jumbled
bad
in my mind.
Yeah, they're bad. They're definitely bad. So, but like that movie is kind of framed around Angel, the
Right.
X-Men with wings. Like it opens up with him like cutting off his wings, and I think at the end he's free or something like that. I imagine Civil War kind of revolving around Spider-Man, like the movie Civil War, the movie revolving around Spider-Man, and kind of in a tug of war between Captain America and Iron Man. That did not play out, obviously, but that was kind of one of my predictions for the show, for the movie rather.
Yeah, and that's totally my bad. I thought it happened at the end of the Civil War run, but like you said, there were so many comics in the Civil War crossover ginormous event thing. I think when I was in Marvel Unlimited looking for it one day, it was like 98 issues, and I don't know if that even included any of the Aftermath stuff. And I was like, are like 90 of these necessary? Like, I feel like you could really just read the 7-issue miniseries and have a very good idea of what happened. But yeah, so Cap's death definitely came shortly thereafter for Civil War, so that's totally my bad. But I think a lot of people were thinking that was something that could potentially happen in the Civil War movie, because really the big casualty we get is King T'Chaka, which leads into introducing T'Challa as the Black Panther and everything like that. So you can definitely see a lot more of the setup for Spider-Man and Black Panther in this on a second watch. And I hadn't watched this, I don't think, since it came out in theaters. So going back and revisiting this, I was like, oh yeah, I see all of these things they were building towards now.
Yeah, the Black Panther and Spider-Man thing was actually, those were, I mean, Marvel was like really hell-bent on getting Spider-Man